Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about wanting more. What if it isn't urgency that brings abundance closer, but the hush between heartbeats? What if safety isn't earned through speed or sacrifice, but is a seed already inside you? What if the door to more doesn't open with force, but with presence so patient it could be mistaken for silence? This isn't a lesson. It's a recoding. Every sentence is designed to help your nervous system feel safe, while your soul starts to remember its worth. If you've ever undercharged, overworked, or felt guilty for dreaming bigger, this entire episode is for you, so stay with me. Even if you drift off, the truth will still reach you. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. Let there be a gentle hush now, the kind that glimmers just before a wish forms on your lips. The moment before you speak a longing out loud. Your chest might rise with a sigh you didn't realize you were holding. Soften your jaw, unclench your hands. Just a little, let your breath arrive without story or effort, as if it's settling beside you, loyal and unhurried. If the world feels full of noise, of metrics, of time urgency and answers, let this be the room where none of that is required. Your mind may wander to old stories, old numbers, old arguments in the dark. Tonight, those memories can drift by, like clouds skimming a violet sky. Here, every fear of not enough is just a shadow dissolving on the wall. You do not have to change yourself to hear this. You do not have to hustle your thoughts clean. Tonight is only for remembering. Sometimes the pressure to prove our worth sneaks in quietly, a tightening in the throat, a swallow, a rush to say yes before the question is even complete. The nervous system, trained by years of lack, can make scarcity sound like common sense. There's an old pattern here. Maybe it began in childhood, with anxious glances at the dinner table, making yourself small to take less. Maybe it arrived as adult choices, saying yes to more work than your soul can carry, sacrificing sleep for numbers on a screen. If urgency and panic have been stitched through your money stories, you are not alone here, in this quiet threshold. It is safe to notice the tense places, to sense them, and to soften just a shimmer more, letting the rhythm of your breathing slow, as if you are rocking yourself. A gentle curiosity begins to blossom. What if abundance is patient, not hasty? What if wealth listens and waits until you are truly ready to let it settle beside you, like a friend who never knocks but always arrives? Let your mind wander to the moments you acted from the squeeze, the hurried discount, the quick yes before thinking, the hours spent more in survival than celebration. Tonight is a promise. You are welcome here with all your patterns and pauses. There is no earning your place inside this piece. Each word tonight is an exhale, a reminder, a gentle vessel for repatterning. You can allow the knot of busyness to loosen. You can allow your value to exist even in stillness. With each inhale, imagine the old stories lifting from your body. With every exhale, sense a little more space in your chest, space for something new to arrive. No need to force relaxation, no need to measure your calm. It's enough to let the possibility settle near you. Quietly, what if most of what you've been taught about money was simply rehearsed anxiety? What if you could unlearn the need to hurry and discover instead the kind of wealth that emerges wherever you are most present? No need to grasp, no need to prove. Let yourself belong to this moment, even if you feel uncertain. Even if a small ache remains, Tonight, you are being whispered home to the calm that grew wild inside you before strategy, before expectation, before fear. Let it return, let it spiral in. Allow yourself to be met by silence, not questioned by it, and as you drift, let every word find you, weaving new gentleness into old memories. You are welcome here, just as you are. Let yourself notice how the urge starts, not outside, but somewhere within. A quiet as a hidden current. Before the numbers, before the stories, a trembling in the chest, a catch in the breath, a small tightening that pretends to be guidance, yet speaks the language of hurry. Most of the world has learned this as normal. What if tonight you just watched? So many have learned to meet money not like water, but like sudden lightning, like wind that shakes the roots. The invitation, fast and urgent, a sale, an invoice, someone else's need. Without pausing, hands reach, heart races, mind spins, all before the question lands. Is this what I choose? Or what I must do to belong, to breathe, to be safe? There is a rhythm here, taught long ago, the rhythm of quick yeses, apologized prices, silent discounts offered to be liked, to make it and not fall behind. Like petals gripping a stem in a storm, like deer startled in sunlit underbrush, so often, money is met not in presence, but in reflex. In the memory of scarcity whistling through old branches, even as plenty waits just beyond the tree line, pause here. Breathe softly, let your jaw unclench. Imagine the difference between a river swollen with spring rush and a quiet mountain lake, waiting in its own time for the sun to warm its surface. Which has carried you more, the flood or the still waters? Which calls your body into tension and which into home? Most have been taught that speed means survival, bargains snatched in fear, work accepted before hearing the longing for rest. Busyness becomes a proof of worth, as if stillness could only mean lack. How many moments have passed in a blur, agreement given with a nervous smile, the body unaware it was the one deciding? Feel this as if noticing your own pulse inside your palm. The pattern is familiar, urgency tugging, a small storm at the threshold of choice. Even minutes before closing your eyes, the mind may tally what's needed, how to outrun bills, how to anticipate lack, how to say yes before the door shuts. Each time the body says, move now or lose. But what if the universe, like a great wild forest, is only asking you to pause, to listen for the wind, to notice the dew, to trace the rise and fall of light on bark? No animal rushes every hour. Even the hummingbird rests. Even rivers know when to flow and when to collect in deep pools. Let your shoulders soften. Let the next breath be slower. If you've spent years moving like wind in a canyon, swept by the next opportunity, the next request, it's not failure, just a nervous system that learned to mistake panic for protection. I feel the difference, swift current versus still pond, gusting storm versus sunrise mist, seeds scattered on rough terrain, or patiently rooting in rich, slow earth. Your choices with money have mirrored the weather inside you. And none of it was wrong. Each hurried yes, each overgiven favor was a survival prayer, an attempt to feel safe, to keep belonging, to promise yourself you'd be okay. Tonight, something ancient softens. What would it be to tend your money like a gentle gardener, pausing before the soil is turned, listening to the roots before planting, knees pressed to earth that remembers every season's rhythm? Money, too, responds to touch. Sometimes all it asks is presence. Like holding a nest and not rushing the eggs to hatch. Like rain falling on thirsty ground, not in torrents but in patient drops. Notice your breath again. Inhale as if filling yourself with quiet approval. Exhale as if letting hurry walk out into the night without you. You are allowed to feel your own weather shift, allowed to witness the body's small surges of urgency and the space underneath them. What if the next choice could emerge as slowly as moss, as gently as daybreak light streaming across the field? What if abundance finds you not through the panic of wind, but the restful promise of shade? You have lived long enough in the court of urgency. It bowed before you like a king, demanding your speed, your yes, your sacrifice. Maybe tonight you become the sovereign who waits for the right tide, who listens for the soul's signal under the mind's static. Is it a real yes, or just the echo of old fears? Does your heart flutter like sparrows startled, or settle in the hush of a dusk-glowing forest? Let your bones recall the sensation of groundedness. Here, choices are not made to escape a lack, but to honor an abundance of time, of presence, of knowing. Trust that the ground will hold, the roots will reach for water, the fruit will come when it is time, not when summoned by worry. Another breath, if memories surface, of rushing, of smallness, of saying yes when a no lived hidden inside, treat them as scattered leaves on a slow current. You do not have to gather them, just notice as they drift by. Even in this noticing, there is healing. See how the meadow knows when to rest, how the tide withdraws not from fear, but to prepare for returning fullness. Your nervous system can learn again the language of slow plenty, the prayer of receiving that is not snatched but welcomed. Tonight you remember, abundance is not the prize for panic, but the companion of calm. Money listens to the waterfall and the dew. It waits for the hand that opens steady, not shaking. As you drift, let your body remember what the mind forgot. Urgency is old. Presence is the new soil beneath your dream. Let yourself rest and notice what is growing here. There is a belief, a well-worn script lingering beneath so many eyelids at night, that urgency is the price of wealth, that productivity is the only invitation money answers with a yes, that staying busy enough, tense enough, relentless enough, will somehow summon the river of prosperity to your door. Notice how those ideas echo in your body, soft as a whisper but tight as a knot. Notice the memories rising up, the flashes of staying late, saying yes before the exhale had even finished, feeling your jaw set like a gate against some imagined loss. This myth, this story of striving, it can feel so plausible in a world that worships momentum. But tonight, let's linger on the edge of a different question. What if true prosperity, the gentle, ongoing affirmation of your needs, desires, and dreams, is not waiting at the end of chronic tension? What if money's essence is more attuned to relaxation than readiness, to receptivity, not reaction? You're not alone if you learn the opposite. Most have. We're told that wealth finds the busy, the exhausted, those flickering fast between screens, meetings, offers, pages. We're shown images of endless lists and perpetual motion, and somewhere it's decided. The shallower my breath, the closer I am to victory. The tighter my stomach, the safer my future breath. And yet, in the quiet hush of the world's oldest wisdoms, something else is offered. In Taoist tradition, abundance is not the result of wrestling with the current. It is the outcome of union, of soft alignment with the natural, unforced flow. Rivers do not strain, grass does not rush. Notice how your body feels in this Tao. A subtle, silent question appears. What if I allowed my effort to be easy? What if I trusted the gentle, unseen work beneath the surface, the roots growing in darkness, the water gathering effortlessly in the well? The tension, though, can feel familiar. Maybe for years, urgency was safety. Maybe staying alert, staying productive, was a cloak you wore for belonging, for survival, for mattering in a world that valued results more than rest. Every yes you blurted in fear, every price you lowered in self-doubt, every hour you pressed on for someone else's agenda, what if those weren't failures, but echoes from an old era, a season where striving was the only way your heart knew to be valued? Allow a slow breath now, deeper, permission to pause. Imagine every belief about overwork, about tension. Imagine setting them softly on a shelf for a while. Not erasing, not blaming, just giving them a place to rest. Let the weight of effort slide off your shoulders and onto the ground. Without that tension, what happens inside you? Does fear rush in to fill the silence, the old reflex? If I stop, I'll lose it all. If I slow down, I'll fall behind. Notice those thoughts. Feel how quickly they rise. Now, what else could be true? Listen deeper. A different current flows underneath, gentle and persistent. Abundance responds to calm presence. Not the kind of presence that's braced and watching for disaster, but the soft, open state you sink into as you exhale fully. Imagine for a moment your choices about money, not made at the speed of panic, but at the rhythm of your own natural breath, deals, offers, opportunities. Entering your sphere not because you chased them, but because you became the still lake that reflected their possibility. The tension gone, replaced by trust in timing, trust in self. Pause. Feel how your chest softens when you remember. Prosperity does not demand your struggle. Money is not a storm to be outrun. It wants to be with you where you are fully you, unhurried, undiluted, entire. In Taoist wisdom, water succeeds because it is yielding, not rigid, because it knows the power of taking the shape that fits the moment, the courage to be receptive and present, rather than hard and striving. Every time you felt wealth required tension, you were living under a charm that can now be dissolved by gentleness. The body can remember a different way. Let's linger. Picture a day where productivity feels like play. Not a race, but a dance. What opens in your chest when effort is light, and money is the echo of your joy instead of the currency of your fear. Feel your face unclench. Feel your scalp release the gripping, the micro-bracing, the anxious readiness for just one more thing to complete. This is the state where new patterns root deeply. In calm and in compassion, not in urgency. Release. Maybe you spent years proving your worth by how much you could carry, how much you could do without pausing, how little you could ask for and still say yes. What if the truest prosperity flows to the steadiness of your being, not the speed of your doing? The mind may resist this notion. It wants to race ahead, to check boxes, to measure value by exertion. But even as the noise comes, you can hear the quiet suggestion underneath. There's abundance here, in rest. You do not have to bargain with exhaustion anymore. You do not have to lure money with anxiety. Imagine money as a butterfly that lands only when the flower is still. What if, by unwinding each thread of tension in your nervous system, abundance is not lost, but multiplied? Breathe and let the truth wash over your body, not hurriedly, but like mist settling on your skin each night you rest in this new awareness. The myth dissolves a little more, and the quiet, sacred possibility of prosperity's real essence returns home to you. A softer, slower, still you, always enough, even standing still. There are nights when the body feels as if it is waiting, not just for sleep, but for a kind of permission. A quiet wondering, what if my skin, my chest rising and falling, is more than just an envelope I live in? What if inside the hush of limbs at rest, there lives a signal, a beacon, a quiet drumbeat that calls in the resources I ache for, one that has nothing to do with striving or urgency? but everything to do with the way presence feels when it melts through muscle and bone. Imagine, for a moment, that wealth is less a thing you chase, and more an echo that finds you when you're soft enough to hear it. A resonance that wanders the room, not searching for those who run, but for those who allow their heart to slow. Pulse by pulse, most of us were shaped to believe that riches reward the hurried. That if you want more, you must quicken your breath, hurry your thinking, compress your body into a knot of effort. The story goes, success is a chase, money is a prize, and rest is what you buy only after you've spent yourself into hollow. But perhaps there is another current here, a river beneath what we've been told. Instead of gripping and pushing and negotiating urgency, you could shift your weight just so. Let gravity win for a change, let your ribcage widen, let your shoulders drop a fraction. Listen to how your body speaks in silence. So many have built their lives on a signature of panic. Running to catch a clock, inhaling each hope on the inhale, gripping what's left on the exhale, bargains made in small print, yeses spoken from the lungs, not the wiser belly. And still, the heart aches, and the body cannot relax, even when the world says you've crossed some imaginary finish line. Maybe it's not the finish line that changes anything at all. Maybe it is this moment, spine on linen, breath moving slow, and the quiet possibility that abundance responds not to pressure, but to how deeply you can root into this bed, this breath, this night. Let your attention wander to the landscape inside you, toes uncurling, legs heavy and long, the tension in your brow slowly dissolving. Is it possible just here to let the body be a magnet not through struggle, but through surrender? What if every cell could soften enough to become a lighthouse for what you desire most? Notice the difference, the old habits of clutching, contracting, saying yes when you mean not yet. It's the way your diaphragm flinches at another opportunity, your jaw tightens at the memory of the weak. Now, compare this to the version of you who waits, gently, for their own ground, whose chest opens to receive, whose hands rest palm up on the covers, whose breath lingers like a wise tide drawn out at dusk. And notice how attraction, true attraction, is not a sprint but a stillness. The magnetic field you generate when you trust your timing, and the current beneath your skin becomes steady, not desperate. What if abundance is not impressed by your panic? What if the whole universe waits alongside your softening, ready to meet you not in the race, but in the rest, in the warm hush after letting go? Some say the body is a conduit. Others might call it a tuning fork, a temple, an antenna, but perhaps tonight, it is a velvet field, spread wide, soaking in something gentler than striving. The nervous system unwinds, the body as compass, pointing less toward tomorrow and more into the lushness of now. Breath drifts in, easy. Breath floats out, and something anxious leaves with it in this quiet. Feel how the body speaks a language richer than logic. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Each beat a gentle invitation, drawing prosperity not with effort, but with calm, with safety, with an energy of yes, but only when it is real. Soften your throat. Swallow once, slowly. Sense the difference between scarcity clenched in your belly and the way abundance glimmers just past your forehead when you relax your thinking. Notice how even as you listen, your skin can learn. Your cells are listening, too. Like 1,000 doors that open when you don't force them. Like a gentle tide that carries your boat when you loosen the oars. Like the first warmth of sun on cool earth. Presence calls in what you crave, quietly, invisibly, surely. Pausing here, breathing again. Remind your limbs there is no chase tonight. Allow the old story to surface and drift, the one about earning through exhaustion, being valued by what you produce instead of how you feel. Let that story float away. It is not needed in your body now. There is a space between each heartbeat, like a window where light slips in. There is a pause at the top of each inhale, a hollow of peace at the bottom of every exhale. Rest your mind there for a moment. What if wealth is listening as closely as you are now? What if it needs only a steady signal, a body unhurried, a nervous system that feels like home? What if the world isn't testing you, but waiting for your invitation to respond, drawn not to your striving, but to how rooted you are in the pleasure of simply being you? Linger with these questions. Sink deeper into yourself. Every muscle remembers now. First it trembles, then it releases, then it steadies. This is not just sleep. It is a rehearsal of trust. The body, relaxed into gravity, teaches the field around you how to answer. You do not have to prove your worth in the night. You do not have to grip anything so tightly. Simply allow yourself to be the vessel, the signal, the resting lighthouse calling in the gentle ships of what you truly desire. There is a moment, deep in the quiet that follows an exhale, where all the fire drills and urgent alarms inside the mind finally slow. The world outside is still spinning, deadlines wait, prices shift, another offer slips by like water through tired hands, yet in this moment, a truer law takes shape beneath the surface. The nervous tide recedes. Here a softer question arrives, as gentle as dusk. What if money only finds its way to the space you become, not the panic you outpace? What if it listens not to the noise, but to the steady heartbeat of the room you hold for it? It's strange, perhaps, to remember, for so long the world taught us the opposite. That earning was a race. That survival meant saying yes before you could think. That urgency was a virtue, and hesitation, a risk. There was always another rush. The sale ending, the last spot, the endless reels of proof that you had to jump or be left behind. Most days, the old script ran on its own, whispering that money was slippery, wild, and easily lost. That if you sat too long in stillness, you'd lose the game. So the dance began, busyness as blessing, discounts as lifelines, rushing as a prayer for rescue. All as if peace was something you might earn if you ran fast enough. As if you never paused to ask, what does true wealth feel like in the body? Tonight there is another way. The law of assumption leans close and wonders aloud, what if abundance is not a hunt, but a mirror? It reflects all that you are, the breath you dare to hold, the calm you claim as home, the presence you offer in a moment unscripted by fear. Imagine now not the rush, but the slowing, each inhale a quiet invitation. Each exhale a letting go of the old agreement, that only panic brings provision. Softly a memory stirs, the times you moved from frantic seeking, and the times you answered with gentle presence, a body rooted in now. Hands open, not grasping, heart willing to meet the world as it is, not as it threatens to become. Tonight, let the layers unravel. Feel how it used to be, how quick the pulse would leap at every ping or offer. The way you learned to say yes, not from desire, but from worry that this perhaps was the last chance, the last opportunity, the last door, and behind that urgency, the silent belief. That abundance was always running ahead, and you must outpace your own lack to keep up. Now, drift deeper. Bring to mind the places in your life where your choices felt pressed by time, fear, or the pressure to prove. Notice how your breath used to shorten there, how the world seemed to shrink around money questions. Notice, too, what it is to pause, even for a moment, to let your breath drop lower, to let your body feel the ground beneath you, the lengthening of time in a safe room. Perhaps now your shoulders soften, your thoughts offer more space. Somewhere an old tension unwinds. What if every time you anchor in calm, money senses the difference? What if, instead of racing, wealth responds to your steadiness? With each breath, you plant a new assumption. I am safe even when I wait. I am whole even in stillness. Money is drawn to my peace, not my panic, and money loves my presence, not my performance. Let this truth echo in the softness between thoughts. You are not here to chase. You are here to remember the unhurried rhythm of well-being, to feel that money is attracted not to the anxious play, but to the anchored trust. Again, let the knowing expand. Before you hurried toward every possible solution, fearing emptiness, fearing exclusion, rushing against the current. Now you choose witnessing over forcing, allowing over clinging. Instead of a leaky cup, or a sieve losing gold, or an open window in a storm, you begin to become a vessel that holds, receives, anchors. You might wonder, does it really work? Can peace replace panic as the engine of your prosperity? Slowly, the evidence grows. The more you wait, the less you lose. The more presence you offer, the more naturally opportunities come. The less urgently you grasp, the more securely you receive. In the space where you have nothing to prove, a quiet magnetism emerges. The old script shatters. Lots of proof may be missing, but something inside you softens, knowing that only calm can expand into true plenty. So tonight, let any old urgency grow quieter. Let your fears become less convincing, less immediate, less deserving of reaction. If your mind protests, let it, but hold a steadier breath. Assume, just for this night, that money prefers your gentleness to your grasping. That wealth is a companion, not an emergency exit. That you are safe enough, present enough now. There's something older than words, a slow rhythm beneath the breath you take now, a memory your bones might keep, even after the mind lets go. Sometimes, even as an adult, the heart beats faster at the echo of money. Chest tightening. Shoulders guarded. Maybe a flicker behind the eyes. Will it be enough? Am I moving fast enough? The world around urges, faster, quicker always. Before you understood bills or taxes or price tags, urgency had already crept in, a subtle tension between wanting and deserving, earning and surviving. It might have sounded like footsteps on the stairs at night, voices in the next room speaking low and urgent. Maybe it was a scraped coin on the countertop, perhaps a sigh over envelopes, the hurried breath of a parent answering phones, or the quiet strain between questions. Can we afford it? Is there enough? Is it a memory of sitting very still, hoping not to cause trouble, while adults rearrange the world with small, anxious hands? Or maybe the pinch of wanting for a treat, for a soft thing in a shop window, and watching someone you loved say no before you could even ask. And isn't it strange how these moments, quiet as moth wings, teach the body to hurry when money is near? There's an invisible contract written on your nervous system. Quick, say yes, take less, don't ask for too much, move faster, or it might vanish. So we learn to scramble, to grip opportunities before they slip away. To shrink the ask, to undercharge in the hope of pleasing, to answer emails at midnight, adrenaline humming, sleep forgotten. To say yes too quickly, too cheaply, because to pause might risk everything. Because before there was wisdom, there was watching. Before there was choice, there was copying the scared patience of the grown-ups. But what if all that urgency held a question underneath it? A longing not just for coins or bills, but for certainty, for steadiness deep inside. Let your breath loosen just a little. Notice if your chest wants to hold on or your hands curl. What if nothing is slipping away right now? What if, even for this moment, you picture a table wide, set with abundance, candlelight gently flickering, everyone taking only what they need, no one grabs, none rush to snatch the loaf. There's enough, the table is never cleared too soon. This image is as old as story, older than scarcity. There's a table in the parables, a feast with loaves and fishes multiplying gently because everyone trusted there would be enough. There was no running, no panic, just the slow, wondrous revelation. When presence is the source, lack dissolves. When the room carries faith, what's needed arrives. Even if your earliest memories were spent running, mentally, emotionally, after money, what if those patterns were never your only story? Notice the places inside that still leap at the prospect of more work, more hours, another sale. Notice the twinge that says, "Do this now," or it disappears. What happens if you pause, letting that urge soften, like sunlight through sheer curtains, gentle and quieting? You might remember, what was urgent then may no longer be true now, not for your nervous system, not for your soul. Let the urgency, like an old sweater, slide from your shoulders. Each exhale calls you gently back, back from those childhood rooms, back from the sound of hurrying adults, back to the pace of your own breath. It might feel unfamiliar, maybe almost rebellious. And to wait to check what you truly desire before promising, discounting, or agreeing. There's a slow magic here, an alchemy where panic is noticed, thanked, and released, where the voice that once said, "Faster, faster," now whispers, "Here is time. Here is space." Let every old race for worth begin to quiet. Not all at once, but slowly, like dusk, softens the outlines of houses on your street, until even the sharpest shapes blur and the pressure to rush fades. Consider this. Was the panic ever yours, or did you inherit it? Were those grown-ups carrying their parents' urgency too? Does the wind hurry when it passes over the fields, or does it remember, nothing is running out, breathe into what remains? Notice your heartbeat settle, the edges inside you growing round, the urge to answer fast, discount always, rush every decision. Let it become slower, softer. What is it like to imagine making choices as calmly as rivers meander? What if the next time you see a bill, a request, or a chance, you first check your breath, before you check your wallet? What if some part of you already knows how to say, "Let's wait, let's choose, there is time"? The old origins, the stories slippery as shadows under a child's bed, these can be told a new way. This time, the ending is different. The child grows, learns the rhythm of tides. Not everything good must be chased. Some comes when you rest, when the system feels safe, when the mind is quiet enough to feel abundance, not just fetch it. Each night as you drift, imagine this map inscribing itself across your nervous system, an invitation to sacred patience, to money shaped like ease, like trust, like sunlight pooling on kitchen tables. Each yes is slower now. Each no is honored. Each request is met with your whole presence. Tonight, let what was urgent become what is gentle. Let what was rushed become what is remembered, what is chosen, what is worthy of waiting. And as you breathe, softer, rounder, steadier, let the old origin stories rewrite themselves, until you fall asleep to the sound of your own abundance, steady as love, calm as bread passed gently from hand to hand, always enough for all, always, always enough. There is a quiet inside you that remembers long before you were taught to chase, before the swirl of deadlines, dings and the thrum of not enough brushed against your chest. Something softer lived underneath, a knowing that all things respond to the soil they grow in. The world trains hurry. The body remembers hush most days, Money seems to want movement, a little more effort, a quicker reply, the first to say yes, the first to lower a price, the first to bargain with comfort, as if the next yes, the next transaction, could settle a trembling deep in the bones. We are told that if we move just a little faster, the abundance we long for might finally arrive. We are taught that if we invite urgency, if we court adrenaline, if we let tension lead, perhaps our worth will be proven. Perhaps we will be rescued at last from uncertainty. But what if every hurried step simply brings more hurry? What if each time our breath becomes thin and quick, the world around us tightens in echo, as if the invisible space between things is listening, copying, drawing in what we are leaking out? The habit is old. It lives in your shoulders, your throat, the hush behind your chest. Long before you asked for more, you learned that safety belonged to the fastest, that slow was dangerous, and rest was a luxury only for those who'd finished their running. Notice now, without judgment, what stirs in the body when you touch the word abundance. Does it feel warm, slow, or does something flicker and tighten, expecting to be tested? Release that thought on an exhale. There is a law older than should, that like meets like, quietly, as day reflects dawn, as rivers smooth stones. The state you live in becomes the field that draws your plenty. The posture you greet the night with is honored by the universe, without exception, without scold. Sometimes the world says strive, and we answer with tension in our bellies, offering anxiety in earnest, hoping to be chosen by life, hoping good things might outrun our fears. But fear calls to fear. Imagine now a child whispering stories to a garden, leaning close, patiently waiting for sprouts simply because there is trust in the soil. What grows when our tending is gentle? What multiplies when our hands welcome the pace of unfolding? Slow your breath even further. What would shift if you met every wish for more, not with urgency, but with wonder? What would change if, instead of pursuing from lack, you invited from center, as a calm pool calls birds instead of a rushing river, as a mountain holds sun, while the clouds wander by as the sleeping earth trusts spring? Unseen under snow, each stillness has a gravity the frantic does not. Try it, breathe in through your nose, let your belly soften. Notice how your body responds to this pause, this permission to exist before effort, to rest before reaching. There have been so many moments when life seemed to ask for panic, to undercharge so the deal is safe, and to rush a launch so the fear will stop, to fill every moment so nothing dark can catch up. This is the nervous system's old dance, trained by scarcity, loyal to the myth of just-in-time rescue. But every time you breathe back, soften, and choose presence, you offer something else to the field around you. You become an echo of what you desire, not what you fear, what is called by your sense of steadiness. Pause here, sense the difference between wanting from appetite and wanting from wholeness. Asking out of need creates a pulse that says, not enough, not yet. But stillness, gentle expectancy, welcomes the world with open hands, no grabbing, no pleading. The secret most forget is this: calmness is not passivity. Calm is an invitation, an unshakable root, a quiet magnet. When you are rooted, all that matches your signal arrives without drama. It finds the quiet in you and settles there. Notice how panic feels in your cells, the muscles that grip, the small shivers under skin. Let this awareness pass through you, like sunlight moving over water. Notice and then let the water go still again. If a worried heart plants seeds, it checks the soil each morning, pulling at the sprout to see if it's ready, disturbing the very thing it wants to grow. If a calm heart plants, it simply waters, whispers encouragement, trusts the process, and lets the timeline be sacred. Release the pressure to hurry your shift. Give yourself to this moment, to your own slow remembering. Inhale comfort. Exhale performance. There are always crossroads, choices where one path is thrumming with the old current. Say yes now or lose out forever. Take less, be grateful, self-abandon just this once. It is in these small moments of pause where the entire field changes. What if you trusted that slowing down was the true opening? What if the deals that slip away in the name of peace were never aligned with your deepest field? What if absence creates space, and that space is the signature of wealth? Hold the possibility. The world spins stories about wealth that must be chased, yet every ancient law, every universal rhythm teaches the opposite. The tree draws water by simply being present, roots deepening. The flower opens because the sun is steady, not rushed. The sweetest fruit ripens on its own schedule. Nature gathers by being, not chasing. Let the breath deepen again. Recall a time when life surprised you with more than you expected, and there was no rush, only a sense that you were in the right current. That was abundance answering your calmness, not your anxiety. What circles back, seeks a landing, finds you when your field is clear and quiet. How much space could you dare to hold, trusting that what is meant for you is magnetized by ease, not effort? Notice how every cell seems to loosen, how the mind softens as it meets these questions. Let the muscles relax, let the jaw unclench, let the fingers uncurl. Money, love, rest, they learn your signal. Let them learn your calm. Feel the night echo back to you, abundance as a reflection of state, not sweat. Everything responds to the energy it meets. Like calls to like, the field remembers. Let calm attract calm. Let the hurried current pass you by tonight. The law is always listening. Somewhere deep in the quiet, there is a memory of what it feels like to trust the shape of your own body, before numbers, before the tides of worry, before the conditioned urge to leap because something might vanish if you wait. There is a softer way money can be seen, traced within the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Most have learned to build their vision of wealth in the dark soil of tension. Muscles held tight, heartbeat skipping to the rhythm of old stories. Save quickly, say yes too soon, quell the soft voice within. Some chase possibility like an animal startled in the night, driven by a nervous system that has only known urgency. The mind rehearses losing what hasn't even arrived. The heart pumps harder, believing perhaps speed will catch what presence cannot, but let tonight bring a slow unlearning. What if the way you imagine money is allowed to match the way safety glows at the center of your chest? Maybe, for these next moments, you could invite in a quieter noticing. The faint warmth between your ribs, how your shoulders, so often drawn up and forward, can pour themselves backward into the unseen hands of the pillow beneath you. Imagine money for a moment, not as a rescuer or a test, but as light on water, moving, gentle, always touching everything in its own time. Notice where your jaw rests, unclench, and let the faint tingling remind you there is enough breath. Even now, people are taught to pack worry into imagination, to write out budgets by bracing every muscle, to close windows of joy in case the wind of loss blows too hard. Survival is a teacher, urgency, its language. But there is another way to hold this vision. With every inhale, picture the air as a current, swirling through your body, bringing softness to places tensed by old fear. With every release, let something loosen further. A grip, a belief, a memory that money only comes when you chase or bargain or shrink. Slow it down again. If you once pictured money as a door you needed to run toward, what if tonight it became a sun-warmed path beneath your bare feet? No rush, no chase. Each step slow enough to notice cool grass, the warmth of golden light, the way abundance brushes your skin like a wind that isn't bothered by time. Let your hands rest open, palms facing up. Breathe into the space between your fingers. Is there a subtle electricity there? Does your belly, so often armored, sense a little more release? Trace the length of your spine with your awareness. Each vertebrae softening, each segment remembering it is allowed to support but not protect from joy. What most have done is weave scarcity into visualization. Pausing becomes dangerous, slowness feels unsafe, generosity is filtered through the lens of future threat. But what if your way is gentler? What if the most magnetic visions shimmer only where the nervous system feels rooted, unhurried? What if, before you ever imagine a number, you imagine this safety, this homecoming sensation, as the true foundation for your abundance? Feel your weight against the bed each time you exhale. Let that heaviness increase, knowing the earth can hold all of you, hopes, fears, dreams, regrets, every hungry cell. Nothing needs to be left outside of this safety. Sense the outline of your heart, noticing if it flutters or if it offers steadiness now, perhaps still cautious, but a little more curious. Money has rushed you before, but it cannot rush you here. Here, the only currency is belonging. Imagine your nervous system as a gentle current, not a river after the storm, but a slow-moving stream, alive with sunlight. No rapids, no rocks to dodge, only the permission to float, sensation, thought, and emotion all drifting at the pace of inner safety. If anxiety arises, let it move through without apology. Watch where it travels in your body. Maybe it pulses in the palms, or clenches around the eyes, or shortens the breath. In this chapter, each place that tightens is simply an invitation. Can this too be safe? The more you notice, the wider the vision grows. Each time an old voice whispers, "Act now, or lose it all," meet it with a new rhythm. Imagine that voice dissolving in the presence of steadiness, of care. Like dew on quiet grass, like mist at dawn, urgency dissipates in enoughness. Here, wealth is not a sprint. It's not quick bargains or burning hours to prove your devotion. Instead, notice how abundance begins with the willingness to stay, to sit with yourself, even when the ache for more grows loud. To hold that want in the warmth of your own chest, not to silence it, but to let it breathe safely inside you. Let your next breath run longer, even slower. Let it fill not just the lungs, but the space between your thoughts. Imagine that space as fertile soil. Each slow exhale, planting a seed of safety, belief, vision, a memory of worth untouched by circumstance. Here, the nervous system teaches the vision, not the fear. Here, money mirrors patience, and every desire lingers in a sacred waiting, met by the sanctuary of your presence before any action is decided. And if there is something you wish to manifest, an amount, a feeling, a chance, let the first step always be this. A softness in the body, in the breath, in the fantasy. Safety is how abundance recognizes you, waits with you, trusts you to let it arrive. At exactly your own pace, soften again. Stay, notice. Feel how different this foundation is, and let it be enough for now. It begins so simply, with a breath maybe softly, or maybe shyly, as if the air has to earn its place. Notice how the world reminds us to make every inhale quick, to grab what is needed before it's gone, almost as if there could be a shortage of oxygen, love, time, or possibility. Pause with this first breath, noticing how the body forgets that inhaling is never a transaction, but a welcome that arrives with or without effort. It is not earned, it is allowed. Most of us have been taught to draw breath as if it is currency, a hurried gasp, clutched like coins in a fist, afraid of what will happen if we do not hold it tightly enough. Each inhale becomes a measure of what is safe to receive. Each exhale, sometimes rushed, sometimes withheld, a measure of what might be lost. But what if receiving isn't a competition? What if life, at its most generous, begins and ends with a gentle willingness to allow, to let, to trust the next inhale will always return? What if the real abundance is already woven into the rhythm of breath? Silent, certain, steady, allow this exhale to soften the chest. Let the shoulders fall, as if every knot you've ever carried about what you must keep or lose could melt in this moment. The breath flows out freely, simply because it must, and your body is wise enough to know there will always be more. Soften. Notice how the breath comes, not from striving but from surrender. It is not a wage earned by rapid effort, nor an achievement accumulated in restless nights. Breath is not a bonus for doing more, nor a punishment for resting. It is unconditional, like sun on morning skin, like rain through open windows, like music in the empty room. Yet how often we overlay the old story. That abundance is a result of urgency, that value requires action, that to relax is to risk everything. We are taught to clench around every opportunity, to chase every dollar like the last breath in a fading world. The nervous system becomes an accountant of lack, but breath is not an accountant. It marks nothing against you. It welcomes you to receive, slowly, easily, with an intimacy no deal or discount can buy. Let the inhale be a kind of trust. Notice how, without effort, air fills every quiet place within you. What if money, too, could work this way? Flowing toward you not as a rescue or as a prize for effort, but because stillness is magnetic. Because abundance reveres a heart that knows how to rest open rather than chase closed. Inhale and sense how the air moves. Sometimes it pours in and sometimes it drifts. Sometimes deep and sometimes almost invisible. It neither rushes to you nor retreats from you. There is no tally, no debt. What if wealth was an echo of breath? Flowing in as softly as needed, pooling warmly in the quiet corners, lingering, nourishing, then out, just as naturally, never leaving you emptier, only making room for more. Try letting the next breath come without effort. Don't reach, don't even wish. Just witness how it finds you. Notice the difference between forcing and allowing. When you force breath, it tightens. When you allow, it expands. In the same way, when you cling to every dollar, fearing what may leave, the body contracts. When you give or receive with softness, something inside unfurls. Release. People are taught to be prudent with their breathing, as if one wrong move and all is lost. We inhale fear and exhale control, trying to bargain with the unseen. If I try harder, perhaps I'll deserve more. But the breath never listens to this logic. It simply waits for you to remember what is already true, that giving and receiving are lovers, not rivals. Even now, feel where breath has been trapped. Where it feels nervous or hurried or shy, now invite it home. Tell yourself the truth. I am safe to receive slowly. I am safe to release gently. There is no penalty for pausing. No punishment for trusting. As the breath finds a slower rhythm, life itself matches pace. The room feels warmer, your heart feels less watched. The universe, too, calibrates to this signal. Abundance is drawn to what is safe, not frantic. It wants to dwell in you, not pass through you in panic. Let every new inhale become a remembering. Let every exhale make space for what wishes to greet you next. Notice the impossibility of owing the air, the futility of clinging to the last molecule. Each moment, what is needed arrives. And what if every form of nourishment followed this law? What if money is just another frequency of breath, measured in trust, not tally, given as naturally as rain, received as openly as sunlight? Pause. Feel how the edges of your being soften with this knowing. Imagine your breath as a tide, one that ebbs and returns, one that gathers treasure from the ocean floor and releases it again, the sand always reshaping, the sea always full. Let your nervous system memorize this ease. Let the cells of your body believe, even for a few heartbeats, that nothing essential can be held back from you. Breathe. You are not here to barter for air, nor must your soul hustle for worth. Every inhale is proof, a whisper from life itself, that what is meant for you will never ask you to beg, perform, or scramble. It will enter quietly when you trust in its return. Slowly, as the outer world grows quiet, as fear dissolves into soft awareness, begin to sense what it means to live as gently as you breathe. Abundance in, abundance out. No race, no earning, just rhythm, just presence, just enough. Again and again. Sometimes the lesson whispers low, weaving its way through your memory like the hush of the tide at night. Nothing must be done for a wave to reach the shore. It gathers itself far beyond sight, moved by rhythms more ancient than thought. So too does abundance turn, swirling, drawing nearer as you soften your stance on the sand. Most have learned to scramble, to sprint after opportunities as though gold were slipping through their outstretched fingers. There is a quickness in the chest, a pulse in the throat, urgency, as if wealth only rewards the first one to run. This is what the world taught. Lean forward, try harder, grasp at every shimmering promise as it flickers by tonight. Hear what lives beneath that story, as the tide always comes. A presence alone is enough to greet it. There is a hush that spreads as you step back and let the water roll gently over your toes. Notice how the ocean never hurries, yet nothing is withheld from its depths with each quiet breath. Feel how the same law begins to guide your receiving. Rest for a moment. When the mind is trained to chase, it forgets the lapping rhythm of arrival. Every thought becomes a current pulling hard and fast, scattering your attention like driftwood caught on restless waves. You may sense the hunger, how decisions transform into reflex, yeses blurted quickly, discounts offered before silence can fall, a flurry of activity that simulates safety, but busyness does not magnetize the tide. What if instead you chose to become the soft shore? What if you let desire deepen not as lack, but as an invitation, each longing another moon that draws your dreams closer, calm and inevitable? With a slow inhale lingering in your belly, picture yourself as still as tide pools, nothing escaping, nothing missing, just the slow gathering of subtler treasures beneath the surface. Let go a little further. To force is to stir sand into clouded water. The more you grasp, the murkier it seems. Notice again how the ocean does not beg the rivers to fill it. There is no strain in its expanse, no panic in its cycles. Feel the safety that comes with letting go of constant reaching. Allow yourself to imagine, what if every time you paused, money felt your ease, your quiet rootedness, and drifted nearer in response? The shore never runs toward the sea. It stands, whole and sufficient, welcoming each new surge with patience that changes nothing and yet welcomes everything. Another breath. This isn't stillness as punishment, it's not waiting as defeat. It is the subtle magnetism of water, pools and eddies, generous and expectant, not for what might be lost, but for what is always returning. You may remember nights spent fearing the waves wouldn't come again, counting coins, scanning the horizon for proof that you were rescued, but watch how nature never bargains for its share of the tide. Even as the moon wanes and waxes, the sea remembers. What leaves returns, what is pushed away sweeps back anew. Let this widen through your chest, space for inevitability, room for wealth to arrive in its time, as a swell that cannot be hurried, only received. Soften, consider the difference between hustling and attuning. Allow yourself the image of floating, supported by salt water, body light and unresisting, every part of you buoyed by trust. This is not absence of action, but surrender of the frantic, an agreement to meet abundance at a pace that honors your nervous system, a rhythm that lets you rest even within the dream. Like sea glass shaped over countless tides, your receiving can be natural, your readiness not a strain but a softness, understated yet unmoving. Let your breath match the rise and fall of gentle waves, inhale, exhale. Instead of clinging to the next opportunity like a lifeboat tossed in storm, rest your focus inward. The sea is wealth's oldest friend, cradling mysteries that appear only when you grow still enough to notice. Imagine every new idea, each dollar, every shimmering hope as droplets forming in the open sea. Some you will notice, some will arrive quietly, bobbing in the night until dawn reveals them at your feet. Release the tension that says more is only won by struggle. Let that truth dissolve under the surf, replaced by a slow knowing. What finds your shoreline is drawn to what feels safest. Are you the cliff, tense and resisting, or the cove, open and welcoming? Breathe again. Let go of urgency as a badge, wear ease as your inheritance. Feel the way patience holds power. Waves do not demand, they reach, retreat, and return over and over, shaping shorelines with devotion. Never force in the same way, allow abundance to reform you, not as a storm to weather, but a tide to greet. Rest here a while longer. Let the sound of water return you to a memory older than want, simplicity, trust, arrival, over and over. Sometimes the body keeps watch for a moment that never comes, an invisible finish line drawn in the mind, wrapped tight with the quiet question. When will my abundance finally show up? There's a clock inside the chest wound by hope and worry, ticking against the ribs in silent impatience. Each morning, a scan for evidence. Has money arrived yet? Will it be soon? The urgency is a pulse, a current always humming under the day. Most grow up mapping their worth to timelines, measuring how fast, how much, how soon prosperity should bloom. Like a seed pressed into soil, they peer beneath the surface before roots have found their place, fingers restless, digging for proof that something is growing, even when the surface stays still. The silence between now and harvest feels like emptiness, not quiet power building unseen. It's what so many have learned. Hustle to hurry results, bend to deadlines as if money's arrival is tethered to frantic action. Decisions are made in a rush, discounts given, quick yeses spoken, opportunities chased from a sense of missing out. All because an old story insists that abundance is impatient too, that money only comes when the race is run fast enough. But tonight, the invitation is to remember, seasons never ask the apple to ripen by noon. The tree stands in weather, it receives rain in its own time, folds quietly in winter, erupts in blossom when earth and air are ready. Spring doesn't barter with the frost, nor does summer plead for autumn to arrive early. Every cycle follows a wisdom the mind can't rush, a sweetness that unfolds not a heartbeat before its time. Let yourself picture this, breath slowing, body floating on the truth. Money, too, is not conjured by urgency. There is a resting place, a deep and unspoiled rhythm beneath all striving. This field, this orchard within, receives sunlight, trusts the roots, lets the sap rise when it will. Nothing here is late, nothing arrives in panic. Even nightfall honors the patient drift of dusk. Breathe again. Imagine your inner timeline melting, soft as mist. What if abundance is less like a train to catch, and more like the way wildflowers surprise a hillside after rain? No demand, no deadline. Only the quiet certainty that when the ground is ready, and when enough has been given, color will arrive without struggle. A life built around urgency tightens on possibilities. Each moment squeezed for reward, each hour examined for progress, each day shadowed by what hasn't happened yet. There is so little tenderness in chasing the clock, so little nourishment in running faster when the ground beneath calls for stillness. In this pause, let the soul listen deeper. Your worth does not depend on how quickly you harvest. Not a single leaf in the forest looks to the sky in shame for its own pace. Water flows, seeds open, branches grow into spaces of their own choosing. Tonight is not for performance or even planning. There is nothing to force, only space to remember. Urgency is an echo from a world that forgot how to rest. The new practice is a softer cadence. The body learns it by degrees, one relaxed breath at a time. Picture every artificial countdown dissolving into the air around you. The calendar erases itself. The finish line fades, line by line, until there's only now. What if the next financial arrival is already winding toward you, simply waiting for your nervous system to match its steadiness? What if the tempo of true prosperity flows, not sprints? Release the belief that rushing makes wealth safe. Let go, just for this night, of the urge to pressure the unseen. Trust in the midnight logic of nature. That ripening is a quiet art. Even in darkness, growth persists. Even as you rest, roots rearrange the shape of the future. Inhale, exhale, let this mapping soak in, over and over in different tides. Nature returns to patience. The tides swell and fall, the moon waxes and wanes, the air cools and warms again. Money, energy, love, all are called by the same wisdom. They do not come with clocks in hand. They answer the language of presence. They respond to your calm. Imagine the pressure dissolving from your chest. The clock softens, dissolves, becomes just another story told long ago. Notice how the breath deepens when urgency is released. Sense, if only for now, time is a companion, not a captor. Seasons come, seasons go, yet nothing misses its cue. Every blessing lands precisely when the heart is most able to receive. You do not have to hold up the sky. The fruit will ripen. The soil will give forth, all in the rhythm that honors your wholeness, never your panic. Tonight, permission to let go of the question, when, let it scatter like petals. Allow the rhythm of nature to become the lullaby for your abundance. Sleep knowing nothing real can be rushed. And that abundance in its truest form always keeps its promise. Close your eyes, let all the tension inside your body gently slide toward the earth. Imagine the covers wrapped around you, warm and familiar, as if you are being held by something ancient and unwavering. Feel your breath glide in and out, softer now, slower, as if time itself is pausing to honor you. Picture yourself walking barefoot along a stream lit by the pale gold of moonrise. The air is cool and silver, brushing your skin with the kind of softness only found at the edge of dreams. Each step in the grasslands lighter than the last, the earth yielding below and rising to meet you, unhurried, untouched by clocks or demands. You lower yourself beside the water's edge, knees tucked, arms loose. The stream moves, not with rush, not with hurry, but with deep assurance, winding its way in perfect timing. In this place, you remember that nothing in nature forces its own ripening. Blossoms open at the hour appointed by the sun, fruit swelling sweet only when its season arrives. Income, nourishment, fulfillment, all follow the same rhythm. Not the spike of urgency, but the slow trust of unfolding. Notice the way the water catches shards of light, carrying them downstream, as if even abundance itself prefers to arrive quietly, guided by unseen hands. Listen, the heart of this night beats slow, steady, like a promise. You have never needed to force what was yours, only to receive. Let your breath mirror this, deepening to the pulse of the stream, matched to the hush of gentle growth. With every inhale, draw in reassurance. With every exhale, let go of timelines not your own. Feel into the space behind your eyes, a soft expansion, a gentle readiness. If you like, imagine roots growing from your spine, sinking kindly into the earth, stable, cared for in no rush. Sense how this grounded presence calls prosperity closer, steadily, like a lantern lit in the dark, requiring nothing but time, trust, and patient presence. Now let the following truths wash gently over you. Each one enters like a tide, soft and quiet, repeating itself as you wish. Abundance finds me in moments of stillness. Abundance finds me in moments of stillness. My trust in divine timing opens new doors, unseen by hurried eyes. My trust in divine timing opens new doors. Unseen by hurried eyes, income flows when I am rooted, not rushed. Income flows when I am rooted, not rushed. I allow seasons to shape my growth, knowing nothing good arrives before its time. I allow seasons to shape my growth. Knowing nothing good arrives before its time, safety is my true magnet. What is meant for me cannot be lost or forced. Safety is my true magnet. What is meant for me cannot be lost or forced. Every breath calls in opportunity without demand. Every breath calls in opportunity without demand. Patience is not waiting, it is welcoming. Patience is not waiting, it is welcoming. Wealth is drawn to ease within me. Wealth is drawn to ease within me. I am carried. Always by something greater than fear. I am carried always by something greater than fear. And now, only these words remain. Let them settle into your heart, each time softer, deeper, truer. I move at the pace of trust. I move at the pace of trust. I move at the pace of trust. Let yourself drift. Let these truths become the map you walk, even as you sleep. What if tonight, nothing outside your skin had to change for you to feel softer around money? Each breath draws in with the hush of enoughness, even as the world keeps its glitter out of reach. There is a memory in the bones, sometimes almost forgotten, that knows what safety feels like before there's anything to prove or spend or collect. Imagine for a moment your worth arriving like a slow dawn under the covers, steady, unhurried, the kind of richness that isn't announced but quietly known. Most days, the old programming runs like an engine beneath the surface, waiting for numbers to land in digital accounts before relaxing your shoulders, measuring what can be ordered, signed, cashed, agreed, before daring to sink into gratitude. The world trains busy hands to chase, to promise, to trade rest for results, to let the nervous system flicker with urgency. But what if, right now, you practiced a rare reversal, the whisper-soft act of letting your body be the first place wealth happens? And can you feel the old rhythm slowing? Instead of breath tethered to paychecks or invoices, the simple warmth in your chest is the currency. Inside these quiet moments, there is an abundance impossible to broadcast, only to sense, a gentle gratitude flickers at the edge of awareness. The temperature of the air, just enough for comfort. The way the weight of blankets holds you safe. The tiny kindness of a pillow shaped by your head over many nights. In this very instant, the small riches gather. The texture of clean water moving over palms, a favorite mug resting in your hands, the glow of a lamp blinking gold against the dusk. Before, urgency spun thoughts into stories of not yet, not enough. Now every sigh is evidence, each finger curled upon itself is treasure, not by achievement, but by the miracle of noticing. What if every heartbeat proved provision, independent of outcome? Let the muscles soften, as if the very act of lying here is a celebration. Listen, there has always been something to steady you. Even on days when the world's noise crowds out the signal, maybe, it's the memory of laughter echoing in your kitchen, the quiet lull of a slow morning, or simply the patient rhythm of breath pressing gently against your bones tonight. You are not waiting for a signal from the outside, not a message with good news, not a payment received, because nothing is missing from this inhale. Let gratitude spiral slowly through your body, settling into the hollows and silent places. You might sense abundance differently now, not as something pending, but as softness you can feel in the curl of clean sheets, the way your feet warm within gentle socks, abundance as the glint in the eyes of someone who loves you, the slow pour of tea into an open palm, the hush that lives just beyond each exhale. There is gold here in the stretch between breaths. Notice how the body knows peace before the mind dares to trust it. Recall how often wealth is counted in coins, but rarely in moments of ease, quiet belonging. Before you may have rushed to unlock a sense of plenty, now you linger. Let the room anchor you. The scent of laundry still clinging to soft fabric, the hint of evening air through a window cracked open, the echo of your favorite song still faintly alive in memory. Those two are evidence, gentle proof of currents that want to support you. If there is tension, the urge to measure, to hurry, acknowledge it like mist moving through dawn light, and then with the soft gravity of presence, let it dissolve. Let each slow inhale recondition your instincts. This is home. This is resource. This is enough, without bargains or bargains, without tomorrow's wins or yesterday's misses. Notice how fullness can be a hush across your ribs, a deeper release in your belly, a trust that each next moment will bring another tide of enough. Feel how gratitude can collect around the edges of a quiet room, in soft lamplight, or silence, or the gentle order of your own breath. Pause, let the richness of now be the only proof you need. In this space, abundance exists before the evidence, and you right now are already carried, already kept. Let that recognition linger just a little longer. Sometimes it's easy to forget the quiet ways that both love and money begin reaching for us as softness, not force. Before habit taught urgency, before the world attached earning with racing pressure, there lived a warm simplicity underneath, the way affection finds a home in laughter, the way abundance lingers wherever presence is a gentle invitation. Breathe here with me, not as a task, not to get somewhere, but as a remembered pace, one that asks nothing, one that simply lets in. It takes time for most hearts to let the nervous system rest, especially those that learn to treat money as a rescue, not a guest. When love first learns caution, it contracts like petals curling inward before rain. When money first meets panic, it too skips past hello, chasing itself in circles, desperate to arrive, but never quite landing. Letting this sink in, there is a difference between taking and receiving. There is a difference between chasing connection and letting it bloom naturally. There is a difference between gripping for certainty and offering a soft palm, upturned and waiting still. Most spend their days reaching for the next dollar, the next text, the next validation. Hands clutch the phone, eyes scan the numbers, hearts grip at opportunity, as though to grasp tighter is to guarantee arrival. But just as in love, real wealth arrives where it is met by an openness, a calm recognition, a space prepared not by striving but by trust. When the heart is ready, even silence feels full. When the soul exudes welcome, even the air tastes sweeter. Breathe again, softer. Imagine your body as a safe garden, the air barely stirring, petals unfurling shyly in their own time, the sunlight not demanding, only waiting and warming. May money wander close the same way. Not hunted but invited, not counted as proof, but noticed as presence, flowing in, only where it feels a soft landing. It's easy to fall into the myth that giving up control means losing everything. But what if the opposite is true? Consider the moments when laughter arrived as a release, not because you forced it, but because the room felt easy and kind. Money, like love, crosses thresholds when surrender is present. Not surrender as loss, but surrender as trust. See if your breath slows just a little in this remembering. Here the body softens its edge, the longing unclenches its fists. The voice of fear, that old familiar push dims, leaving only the natural rhythm of inhales and exhales, the subtle, sacred ebb and flow of something loving finding its way home. And for a heartbeat, let both love and money become gentle rivers, not crashing or flooding, simply spilling forward where there are no dams of tension, no sandbags of past betrayals. Where the landscape is soft, the banks rounded with forgiveness. Sometimes this means wading through seasons of quiet. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, only later realizing that roots were reaching deeper, preparing for a safer spring. Nothing needs to rush toward you. Nothing precious asks you to panic. Exhale, the universe moves at the pace your nervous system welcomes. You may notice how, in relationships, the sweetest exchanges happen unhurried. The most sacred touches are rarely sought, but given, offered, received as a gift instead of a demand. Money, too, responds to this energy. When you soften your gaze, relax your grip, and let the conversation pause, you may sense a gentle approach, a shy offering at first, and as your openness grows, so does its presence. There's time for everything blooming here, just as there's time in friendship for a glance, a touch, a story unfolding over quiet evenings. Every gentle glance at abundance is a petal unfurling. Every moment of trust is a root winding deeper into safe and fertile ground. Tonight, let this truth echo in your chest. Both love and money are souls drawn to warmth. They take their time. They want a steady welcome. Their language is receiving, not rescuing. Their bond is in being met, not bought. Their loyalty is to spaces made sacred by steadiness, not scarcity. Again, take this cue and breathe and drop the shoulders, loosen the jaw. Imagine a soft wind floating through, carrying with it the energy of yes, a yes that asks nothing but your readiness to receive without proving first. A yes that brings a vibration of love's abundance and wealth's tenderness together, so closely entwined that they become indistinguishable. Let this be the practice, not of doing but of allowing, not of bargaining but of being witnessed, not of holding your breath but of letting it go. What changes when urgency flickers out, replaced by peace? What unfolds when the heart knows it is enough for love and for wealth, simply by existing, by opening, by saying yes to the beauty of being here, exactly as you are now. And now. And now again, before sleep takes you, notice if your chest feels a little wider, as if something has made space where tightness used to be. What if this was always the truest map, that money finds you as love does, in moments of soft reception and open, calm presence? Breathe one last time, slower, lighter, fuller. Let love and money settle in, side by side, quiet guests in the sanctuary of your gentle body. Nothing more is required, nothing needs chasing. The deepest wealth is in this courage. To become a place where all good things feel safe resting with you, and to allow that safety to stay, even as dreams begin to bloom. There is a quiet in you that remembers, a hush before desire, before urgency, before the quickening thought of what money could buy, fix, or rescue. Most have been tutored in the language of hurry, conditioned by bright screens and heavy breaths, by the drum of survival choices and the pressure of before it's gone. Decisions are made from the chest, not the heart. Yeses escape the lips before the body has even settled enough to ask, is this a yes from fear or a yes from fullness? But there is another way. It is ancient as the bell that calls the monks to stillness. Just as in meditation the mind is invited to bow before the breath, so too can the compulsion to do with money be asked, so gently to rest, pause here. Imagine a stone at the bottom of a clear pond, unmoved, untroubled. No ripple touches its rooted certainty. Around it currents swirl, surface winds toss the water, but below only silence. This silence is in you, it always was. Sense this stillness, just beneath the movement of thought. That space before reaching, before justifying, right here, under your ribs, many of us have mistaken movement for progress. Busy thoughts for right action, restless reckoning for readiness. In pursuit of more safety, more worth, more enoughness, we let the nervous system steer. We leap at discounts, say yes before sleep, accept urgency as truth. Each choice quickened by the pulse of lax memory. What if every decision came first from this inner hush? What if the truest abundance is like a mountain's core, still, immense, utterly undisturbed by the passing weather? Breathe here, let your belly soften. Notice where the wanting lives in the muscles, in the jaws, in the hands. Allow another image. A Zen garden, white gravel patiently raked, rocks standing sentinel with no story of panic. The garden needs no rush. Each grain set down by stillness, each stone granted purpose not by urgency but by presence. When the world rattles its coins, blares its alarms, softly ask, is my body in alarm or in anchor? Is this decision made from peace or only from the flinch of losing? Stillness is not absence. It is gathering like monks circling in the dim temple, souls settled before a single candle. Your breath, too, can circle this center, slow, steady, inhaling through the nose, out through the mouth, allowing the mind to drop, just for now, to the gentle pulse within. Sometimes the greatest wealth is restraint. It's the pause before yes, the patience to witness a wave of want without riding it. Like a mountain lake in winter, holding, not chasing the thaw. You are not the whirlwind. You are the field still dewlit before the farmers enter. You are the silence after the chant, the hush between heartbeats. Feel, for a moment, how every tradition that honors peace teaches pause. The breath in yoga that suspends between inhale and exhale. The hush of prayer before the request. The moment in Tai Chi when all movement folds into emptiness. Stillness as sacred interval, as recalibration point, as the tuning fork that sings abundance back to its purest note within you. The sense into your spine. Imagine roots descending, slow and sure, into the coffee-dark earth beneath you, down and down until the whirl of shoulds and nows grows faint. Let the ground hold what you no longer wish to carry. This is not a race, not with time, not with money, not with yourself. In this field of patience, you remember, choices made from stillness last longer. They ring truer. Wealth earned from calm feels woven, not grabbed, not grasped. A bell sounds within you, almost too soft to hear. Each time you choose to wait, to center, to let the rush drift by, you grow quieter, richer, less convinced that urgency deserves your devotion. Choose again each night before sleep. Let your breath become the altar. Place each decision upon it. Should I spend? Should I save? Should I leap? Wait for the internal nod, the steady flame that says, here from peace you can trust. Allow this invitation to echo. Can money reflect my calm rather than rescue my fear? Can abundance enter through the open door of steadiness, not the frantic window of need? Linger in this imagining. What if every transaction tomorrow passed first through this still pond within? What if waiting was wealth? What if enoughness was not given, but uncovered inside your quiet, steady center? Notice how the body softens every time you return. Moment by moment, muscle by muscle, thought by thought, the bedrock grows wider. Decisions seeded in peace bear the slowest, sweetest fruit. Let silence stretch. Let the nervous system uncoil. There is nowhere to go but in, nothing to chase but calm, nothing to welcome but the certainty of your innermost wealth. Rest here. Let the next wave pass. Only choose when the stillness says yes. Let money remember your quiet, not your urgency, and let that become enough again and again. Somewhere, quietly, there is a version of you who still aches with regret, a soft spot in your chest, or a tightness in your belly, holding memory after memory, moments when money felt frantic and speed became armor. What is it like to look gentle into the eyes of your own past? Where you rushed, where you agreed too quickly, where your yes came from hope or desperation or simply wishing to be chosen. So many nights, replaying numbers and missed chances, the mind sifts and sorts, unable to lay a single story to rest. It can be so easy, here in the hush, for old shadows to whisper, you should have known, you should have been better, you should have waited. And still, as breath softens, as your shoulders settle towards the mattress, there is a new invitation. This one does not sound like blame. It does not have the sharpness of self-judgment. Instead, it arrives like rain over thirsty ground, or like the slow, sacred washing in the river of ancient traditions. Every act, every moment is dusted with the promise of forgiveness, not from someone else, but from yourself to yourself. Most have been taught to recount every mistake with the precision of an accountant checking every coin, to let the tally of regrets keep the heart in order, to believe that guilt will keep future days aligned. Busy with tallying, busy with fixing, every financial memory colored by urgency, as if peace can be owed, as if there is a debt to wholeness. But what if all along these habits were not failures, but old protections, woven from fear, survival, and a longing to belong? There are lines across cultures, spooling beneath eyelids before sleep. The Tibetan prayer beads, turning slipped intentions into acceptance. The gentle Japanese rivers where old troubles are floated downstream, away from the body, away from the heart. In every tradition, some act, simple, repetitive, tender, grants the soul the right to begin again. You have touched moments that made your voice too quiet, your yes too quick, your value uncertain. Perhaps you let go of money you needed, or clung too tightly, feeling the old lies. that your worth was measured by what you saved, by what you spent, by the speed of your rescue. Tonight, we slow the heart. And in that slowness, the voice of blame begins to soften, less judge, more witness. The old shame, the heat in the cheeks, becomes just a sensation like fog dispersing, like leaves floating on a pond. There is no one to judge here. Not even you. Inhale, let that air say, I see every version of me. Exhale, release, I let myself be new. It may be true you once rushed, pressed by a world that believes only the fast are safe, only the urgent are rewarded. But soft, in this moment, there is another kind of safety. Slow breaths, rooms with no clocks, choices made from the spine of presence rather than the ache of compulsion. What if tonight is the moment you honor every hurried version of yourself, not as mistakes, but as prayers that brought you here? Let memory drift through you. The times you discounted your gifts so someone would say yes, the meals you skipped to pay someone else on the purchases made when silence was too much to bear. And as each scene replays, imagine a gentle touch on your shoulder, a silent nod from the ancestors who walked before. In some traditions, they believe that forgiveness falls like dew on the skin, soft, cool, unnoticed, but constant. Not a single guilt left behind, just a soothing, slow presence. Inhale, let your jaw loosen, your fingers uncurl. Exhale, each old story is just a door I may close, softly, whenever I wish. You have never been broken. You have only been trying to feel safe. Sometimes safety meant going fast. Sometimes it meant giving too much. Sometimes it meant shrinking or striving or disappearing in order to be seen. These are not flaws but artifacts of learning, like chalk lingering long after the lesson is finished. If the Kabbalists trace light through every wound, what happens if you become the candle for yourself? If the beams of awareness slip into the tight places, illuminating every rush, every panic with something close to love, you do not need to earn your way out of the past. The universe does not require repayment. There is instead an ancient agreement that every soul, given time, may return to peace as many times as it takes. Let breath widen, let the spine sink. Each inhale is an invitation, each exhale a letting go. Forgiven, whispers the night, not just as a word, but as a field, a fragrance, a possibility. Can you feel what calmness does when allowed to replace hurry? The old quickness in your pulse slows, the knot behind your ribs unspools, the stories of not enough and too much lose their shapes, washed in gentleness. Imagine a golden bowl filled with shining water. See how every past decision, every quick bargain, every moment you said yes to survive, drops in, dissolves, leaving clarity where once there was confusion. In Japanese tea ceremonies, each sip is a new beginning. In candle rituals, each flame burns away yesterday's doubt. In ancient wells, each reflection invites forgiveness rather than fear. Tonight, your worth is not a balance to be checked. It is a birthright, a quiet pulse. Every hurried choice you made carried a wish for peace. That wish remains, softer now, settling deeper, lasting longer. Inhale, I am allowed to rest. Exhale, I am allowed to begin again. Every sentence, every memory, every version of you welcome, seen whole. And all the old judgments at last can rest too. There's a quiet hum in the heart of every night, a steadiness beneath the stories, and it waits for you right here. Sometimes the world feels like a choir asking you to sing in all the wrong keys, louder, faster, urgent. Money becomes another note in this discord, another reason to tense, to rush, to say yes without listening, to search the air for a rescue, instead of returning to the gentle gravity inside your chest. Most have been trained to hurry the song, to dance for approval, trade their comfort for speed, hope that if they move quickly enough, the abundance will appear, like applause at the end of a frantic performance. It's so easy to confuse motion for magnetism, busyness for belonging, the loud for love. But what if you noticed, just for tonight, that there is a different kind of music? One that doesn't demand your pulse, that isn't measured by how quickly you say yes or how much you discount your own worth. This music moves slowly, softly, every note steeped in ease, every rest just as holy as the sound. Let yourself feel for a moment how it is when you hold your breath and try to force harmony. The melody shakes, ungrounded, your body tenses, hoping to catch the right tune through sheer will. Like trying to sing along with a song everyone else seems to know, but your throat grows tight. Your mind races to keep up, each decision made from that place pulling you further from yourself. Exhale and remember the silences between each note are just as meaningful. What if the richest music lives in spaces led by peace, sustained by pauses, magnetized by gentle, sovereign presence? Imagine the way a cello vibrates, not when it is pushed, but when it's held steady, strings breathing into the wood, tone blossoming from patience. Imagine your own field, your own energy, creating that same resonance. There is a rhythm in you that knows how to call forth what is meant, a slow pulse that doesn't bargain or beg. This is the place where aligned opportunities gather, not because you chase, but because you hold a frequency so clear, so unmistakably at home in your own body, that only truth can answer. Many times the mind forgets. It rushes to check every pocket, hustle for every dollar, say yes to the next anxious offer out of fear that stillness equals emptiness. But true wealth is not assembled by panic or perseverance. It collects around the beings who move like tuning forks, humming quietly in their exact note. Like a gentle choral harmony, warm wealth harmonizes with your essence rather than drowning it out. Feel for that resonance now. Notice where the old song still plays, the one that says, "Urgency earns you something." Let it drift like static between stations and rest in the gentle music you are now inviting. Each moment you relax your jaw, your shoulders, your heart, you soften the fields around you, letting life find you in its own time. Allow the breath to lengthen, in and out, as if you are tuning yourself to a frequency remembered instead of forced. Every inhale is like a note in a lullaby, every exhale, a soft reverberation returning to the world. What if all your needs could be answered at the pace of presence? Instead of pushing for the next opportunity, imagine the world arranging itself, resources gathering gently, not because you've proven yourself through struggle, but because you've chosen to be a quiet center in the storm. Let this image stretch back to the symphony. The most harmonious sound emerges when every instrument waits for its own cue, plays its own note, doesn't interrupt or overtake. So too, your abundance comes when you honor your tempo, when you notice the internal whisper before reacting to external noise. You are not required to chase the music, you become the composition itself, inviting what is meant for you by how softly, boldly, you allow yourself to be. If you let go of the need to be early, to be fast, to compete for attention, what settles inside you? Can you sense the natural pulse of your life revealing where your readiness lives, and where patience is the most potent invitation of all? Tonight you are not asked to perform. The world may still clamor, demands multiplying, offers beckoning louder, but in this quiet, your wealth story rewires itself. As you slow, as you rest, As you recognize your calm as the magnetic field, you become the home that opportunity seeks. Let the breath remind you there is nothing to rush. Possibility arrives in harmony with your nervous system's safety. There is dignity in your calm. There is sovereignty in your trust. What if money mirrors your steadiness, not your stress? What if every true offer begins when you let your heart's instrument vibrate naturally, without grasping for the next note? Sometimes, the greatest abundance is felt in the pause after asking, the soft certainty before any answer arrives. Just a moment longer, imagine every outer resource tuning itself to your inner tranquility, aligning as if drawn by gravity. Love finds what rests. Wealth answers clarity. Opportunity dances with the ones who move slow enough to listen. Another breath, deeper now. You are already matching that gentle field. In this stillness, you remember, every opportunity that belongs to you is moving at your pace. The world beyond this night will keep asking for urgency. But your soul knows magnetism is a music, and you are already humming its song. Stay soft, stay slow, let the harmony find you. There is a hush that sits beneath all striving, a quiet where the world seems to hold its breath. And some part of you remembers what it is to feel enough, right in this moment, with nothing more to reach for in every lifetime. There comes a night when even the busiest soul gets weary of running, of psyching, of clutching for the next handful of certainty, and it finds itself listening for a softer way. Most of us have been taught to move faster than our peace, to keep our head above swirling waters, trading time for money, energy for security, the silence for reassurance. Every day, choices press in discount now. Say yes quickly, respond before the heart has caught up to the breath. Somewhere, urgency was crowned as wisdom and stillness mistaken for lack, or laziness, or an empty room that might never fill. Yet what if stillness was the secret opening for provision? What if your care, your trust, your deepest receiving, could only root in the rich soil of doing nothing at all? Notice now the pulse beneath your ribs, the inhale that slips in easy without commanding, the exhale that lets go in its own timing. The subconscious has mapped safety to movement. I am only safe when producing, planning, proving. But what if safety is the silent companion who stands behind you only when you slow so much the dust settles? Right there, a peace flows in that does not owe its presence to effort. The very old stories speak of this strange blessing. Be still and know, not as a command you must hurry toward, but a patient invitation, a gate swinging open in the evening. Be still and know provision. Know the currents that carry you when schemes and striving fade. Be still and know there is abundance pooling at your feet, soft as a spring that never announces itself but never runs dry. You may have learned to hustle, to grasp, to say yes out of fear that slow means forgotten, but each surrender to stillness is a door. It pulls the frantic mind into the lap of the present. It dissolves the knot of what if it's not enough, with the gentle rain of what if it already is. Soften your jaw, loosen your hands. There is nothing to hold up tonight. Instead, what if you watched the ripples settle in your own chest, felt the river inside smooth out, no longer dammed up by stories of lack? We are trained from so young to leap after crumbs, quick to grab, to compromise, to flash a smile when every nerve is screaming rest. But there is another current, ancient as starlight, that welcomes you when you sit all the way down in the center of your hollow longing. What if provision is not the answer to fear, but the reward for meeting fear with tenderness? What if the universe, source, the beloved, waits just beyond the last frantic bargain in the hush after you set your plans aside? Let your breath match the slow swing of leaves outside your window. Imagine wealth drifting to you the way golden dusk flows across a silent field. No chasing, only finding. Tonight, let stillness be your sanctuary, for even love, even healing, answers the tempo of a soul at rest. Safety finds you when you uncurl, when you refuse to perform rescue drills in your own heart. Can you feel that? The warmth that fills every hollow when you stop negotiating with time. Perhaps nowhere is this clearer than in the simple words woven through old psalms and whispered by mystics. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joys be empty of worrying. Think of who created thought. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Stillness is not waiting for lack to change, nor a protest against doing. It is the quiet foundation that cannot be shaken by the weather of circumstance. It is the soft unlearning of panic as proof of earning. In stillness, money does not become a rescuer, but a reflection, mirroring the sanctuary you build inside. It is a friend who lingers when you rest, not just a stranger who rushes in at the last gasp of hope. Notice how quickly old instincts want to ask, am I falling behind? Am I missing out? Who will love? Who will see? Who will provide? Yet stillness, like the dawn, does not rush to answer. It waits, invites, lets roots grow unseen beneath soil. Wealth, too, follows the slow opening of trust. The more gently you return to yourself, the wider abundance sets its table. The more bravely you say no to the hustle, the sooner the door to ease swings wide. The sooner purpose sits with you at the table of enough. There are nights, perhaps this one, when the only richness left is the quiet decision to stay, to listen, to trust that being is enough, that the mystery moving in silence is the same current that fills your cup in ways no grasping ever did. Stay in this quiet for as long as your body allows. Let the hum of the world soften. Let money, love, and time return on their own, not as trials to win or tides to summon, but as rivers meeting the sea of your surrendered trust. Feel the bed hold you. Feel the evening enfold you. Be in this hush. Abundance is never far, and stillness is the deepest devotion you can offer to provision itself. Sometimes, before the air clears, it thickens. A hush falls just before a summer storm, and the sky grows heavy, restless, longing to break open. There is a quiet tension here, a stretch in the jaw, a flutter in the chest, a hush across the fields of your being. This is contrast. In the story of money, contrast comes like rolling thunder. A bill you didn't expect, a quiet panic when your calendar is empty, a sudden pull to say yes, quickly, before the offer is gone. The nervous urge to secure, control, appease. The trained instinct to rush towards safety, even if it costs you peace. Breath, slow now. Most have learned, unwittingly, to navigate money like a sailor in a squall. Tensing the shoulders, scanning the clouds for what might go wrong next, grabbing at stray ropes of opportunity, fearing the next wave, dreading being tossed overboard. Decisions are made with hurried hands, eager to calm the storm not by faith, but by frantic movement. Discounting one's gifts to ease another's discomfort, saying yes when the body whispers, wait, shrinking in the hope a smaller shape will be overlooked by trouble. The contrast between who you truly are and how you have been conditioned to move around money flares up loud in moments of uncertainty. Sometimes it feels as if you are trying to build shelter in the middle of a downpour. But not all storms mean danger. Notice this. The storm never asks permission before it softens. The winds die down, the sky lightens, all in their own rhythm. The grass drinks in the rain, supple and alive. Sometimes, when discomfort floods your system, the urge to act, to speak, to clinch a deal, it is not a sign of failure, but an ancient invitation. A contrast comes not to punish, but to draw forth remembering. There is profound intelligence in the moment when resistance swells, an old map being burned by lightning, a clearing underway. Pause, notice the sensation in your belly. Feel the tumble of wanting, resolve, relief, release. These are the breaths the landscape takes before sunlight. There is a peculiar electricity in discomfort, a charge of possibility, a promise of renewal. Just as the roots beneath the meadow hold steady while rain presses the earth, your body knows how to weather every contrast. It remembers how to slow down, how to be present in the eye of uncertainty. It has endured tempests, droughts, wild winds. Yet it knows, every storm brings clarity, and clarity is calm's first child. In money matters, the contrast is not a threat, but an alchemist. It dissolves the old fears with water and patience. It invites softness where urgency once ruled. Each surge of discomfort is a bell that marks the edge of expansion, a whispered note that something old wants to leave and something new wants to breathe in. Let the next inhale deepen you, let the exhale smooth your chest. So many times, the world rushes to outrun the thunder. The impulse to sell, to bargain, to say yes to anything that will guarantee a little more, even if it leaves you less whole, is so deeply patterned. Yet life shows again and again. After the thunder, the air is the cleanest. In the pause, realignment. When you allow the contrast, when you dare not to fix in haste, your nervous system learns the taste of stillness. The need to act falls quiet. Your inner sky widens. A field soaked by sudden rain smells different, richer, more awake. Buried seeds soften, waiting for the right warmth to rise. Let yourself be that field. Allow the discomfort, the not enough, the too much, the uncertainty, to pass through you, not as an emergency, but as weather. Money flows can be like spring storms, seemingly disruptive, yet seeding wildflowers beneath the surface. In waiting, in witnessing, you begin to notice what remains unshaken. Your worth, your gifts, your quiet intelligence that does not need to bargain with the rain. Every urge to rush is a cloud longing to be met with stillness. Every worry is a flash in the distance, here and then gone. Let yourself lie back, as if the earth were soft and dew-wet beneath you, and the clouds above drift at their own pace. Notice how the world does not beg the storm to leave. It simply receives and endures and renews. Your money story can soften, too. The more you allow contrast, the more you become the calm after, clear and certain, without the hurried residue of rescue. Hold this: discomfort is not your enemy. It is the bridge to greater ease. Let it wash through, let it refine you as stone is shaped by water and fire alike. With every breath, sense the ways your old urge to panic begins to dissolve. Trust that the breakthrough, like the rainbow that lingers after the storm, arrives in its own tender timing. Let your nervous system be steeped in gentleness, and your soul, more spacious than any cloud, will remember. After every contrast, calm follows and abundance grows quiet roots beneath you. Breathe again. Let what was urgent become a soft, slow knowing. There is time, there is safety, there is always room for a new story. Sometimes there is a pressure in your chest. Not loud, not even sharp. Just a humming, the kind of hum that comes when another decision tries to rush through the doors of your body before you even know its name. Money asks for a yes, and the hurry, like a breathless bird, flutters, flaps, pulls every corner of your skin toward action. You may not notice at first. It's automatic. Like feet finding the floor before you're fully awake, like hands reaching to silence an alarm before memory returns, like rain darting on a window, urgent, patternless, insistent, so many times you've chosen from this scramble. Sensing threat, sensing shortage, feeling beneath the logic that if you hesitate, if you seem slow or soft or unsure, some invisible opportunity will vanish into the night. Sometimes you've said yes because your heart beats faster, not with joy, but with a nervous system brief. Sometimes the past nudges you, insists that only the fastest survive, only the alert thrive, only the ever-ready are worthy of plenty, and so busyness replaces presence. Quickness replaces clarity. The old script runs. Make the deal, accept the discount, say yes to more, hold on to all, clutching at handfuls of water, trying to grasp abundance through anxious palms. It feels so real, this old urgency. Notice, no judgment, just noticing. The ripple of busy, the push of emergency. The way even your breath can forget its own timing, inhale on high alert, and what if in the midst of this there is a doorway? Softly outlined, an exit from the scramble, not by fighting the feeling, not by scolding the speed, but by noticing. By recognizing the loneliness of urgent decisions, the way panic chases you outside yourself, farther and farther from center. Tonight, let the old story dissolve, one gentle moment at a time. Feel your ribcage expand on your next inhale, slower than you think you need, and exhale, as if you could empty the need to decide, the need to prove, the need to keep up. Each breath is a seam in the story, and tonight you are allowed to rest between threads. What if all the best choices, especially the ones that invite more wealth, wait in the silence before the yes? What if abundance doesn't slip away when you pause, but instead drifts closer, curious about your calm? Imagine you are standing in a garden of days. The urgent weeds are loud, but beyond them, slow-growing trees wait, deep roots, patient branches. No hurry to bloom, no rush to bear fruit. Wealth, like these trees, finds its way to what is rooted, what is ready, what is not chasing the sun but companioned by stillness. Imagine money as a soft reflection, a gentle stream. It comes to places not disturbed, pools in the quiet hollows of presence. When you move too quickly, the water scatters. When you are still, it gathers, glimmers, multiplies in golden shimmer. When a choice arises again, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 3 moons, imagine your body as this still lake. Feel how answers bubble not from the surface tension, but from the deep well beneath your ribs. There is wisdom here, a different timing. The urge to fix, to catch, to claim, they relax. Stay here. Let your tongue rest heavy in your mouth. Release your jaw. Soften your eyes even if they're already closed. Sink further. There are so many stories about missing out. So many tales about late arrivals and second-place fates and ruined fortunes. But these stories forget the one who steps slowly, who lets the world circle, who breathes twice before speaking, who waits not because they are afraid to act, but because they honor the truth that rightness is never rushed. Your wealth is always willing to match your calm. Your next yes wants to meet you in the fertile middle, where roots grow, where soil is rich, where you are less a chaser and more a gentle attractor. Let us linger in all the places the scramble used to live. The anxious yeses, the head nodding before meaning catches up, the way you used to fill your calendar and empty your reserves, believing that faster meant safer, that discounts meant gratitude, that never resting meant you deserved what came. All of that exists outside the center. Come back again and again. Your breath is an invitation. It calls you back to ground. If thoughts hurry by, if new decisions tug at your sleeve, just watch them. Let them swirl, let urgency dance itself out. Rest in the knowing that your next wealth choice, the one that truly expands and holds you, will sound like a bell struck deep in the belly, not a door slammed at midnight. Feel your chest widen, breathe all the way to the bottom of your stomach. What if you didn't have to be early, or first, or faster ever again? What if your worth, your abundance, your deepest earning power was in the way you waited, so openly, that the very world turned quietly to face you, soothe the ache left by every frantic yes? Bless the spaces that sit undecided tonight. You are not falling behind. The wealthiest soil is undisturbed for seasons. The richest wells take years to fill, and your truest decisions, the ones that carry you forwards, are born in stillness. Abundance waits for no panic. Settle your brow, loosen your tongue, remember the pulse at your wrist. There is no rush here. Nothing good is leaving. Let yourself float into the next answer. It will arrive in its own gentle hour, and your body will know, not because it leapt, but because it listened. What if the world around you, and every glimmer on the surface of your life, only ever mirrored the weather of your own heart? And tonight, as your breath slows, the hush growing in the room, let something soften inside you. There is nothing here to chase, no noise to outpace. Money, when seen through old eyes, was always a creature of reaction. It darted in currents of nervous energy, came only when you promised toil, stretched yourself thin, or wore the mask of perfect readiness. Imagine now a lake, dawn barely breaking, the surface a cool, steady glass. Each ripple is your thought, each breath a gentle wind, and above the sky, open with light, clouds moving like slow amends. See now how calmly the water waits, how it never grabs for the sky, nor strains to control what shade or cloud will come. It simply receives, making space, showing back what floats above with a gentle, unbiased gaze. When most of us move through the world, we rush. We hustle for what might make us safe, for the tender promise of enough. We grasp, bargain, distract ourselves with busyness. The water then is choppy, bewildered, reflecting sharp, splintered fragments instead of the whole sky's hush. Presence is the healing. See how the lake settles with your stillness. Notice how the sky's vastness, when met with tranquil waters, multiplies, blue upon blue, infinity mirrored in a single breath. Often, money seems urgent. Urgency feels like short breath tight in the chest, a future clawing at the present. We internalize it until each choice is made in haste, offering discounts, saying yes before the heart has spoken, fearing the hush between asks. Soften again. Let the part of you that measures and counts slip into quiet. Watch how your nervous system, once tightened like string, uncoils, relaxation blooming like the wide release of sigh after too long holding. In this surrender, money waits. It does not race toward tension. It glides into the space you make, reflecting not your panic but your softness. Consider, when water is calm, everything above it sharpens and glows, trees, stars, the early sweep of clouds. When the wind of worry stirs, what seemed certain becomes wild, the lines blurring, edges jagged. Your bank account, your future plans, the dance of wishes and needs, they become simply the mirror for your internal sky. Are you storm or sunrise? Are you scattered at dusk or swelling gently into dawn? What if you release the idea that the next opportunity must be chased? What if you allowed yourself the audacity to wait? Money senses stillness. It drifts towards certainty, rests in the pool of trust like a coin falling through clear water, spiraling, unhurried, finally coming to settle among the treasures resting at the bottom. Countless times you have made decisions like skipping stones, quick, nervous, hoping something would bounce far enough to bring relief. The splash is brief, the stone lost, the pond rippling long after. What if you stood at the shore and simply watched, letting the pond show you what you are willing to receive? There are days when your heart longed to be certain, choosing from safety, not survival. Yet the world moved in hurry, selling you the illusion that worth is proportional to speed or how little you ask. Here, in this slowed moment, notice the way your inhales expand, how each gentle breath invites wider seeing, softer wanting. In the lake of your spirit, abundance is the reflection, not the rescue. It is the sky's memory meeting the water's presence, a reunion, not a transaction. In this slow embrace, the sense of lack fades like mist. What remains is a clear glass returning whatever stands above. Notice how your hands unclench, your jaw softens. The body recognizes that it is safe to pause, to observe, to trust the image appearing on still waters. Perhaps you once believed you could only rest when you had enough. But here, in the pool of now, rest is the way the sky first learned to see itself, as form and color, light and shadow, all given home by an undisturbed lake. Maybe stillness seems unnatural. Maybe the voice of old urgency whispers, there is not yet time to be calm. Notice, though, how the more you watch, the more your nervous system finds its own footing. Like soil settling after rain, like feathers settling on a bird, newly at peace, like candle wax cooling into a smooth pale sheet. Breathe into that image, a money world that waits on your rhythm, not the other way around. See deposits flow in effortless, as rain joining a pond. See decisions coming clear only when the water beneath has stilled. Even now, there may be impulse or anxiety rising. Let it crest without controversy, like a wave rising and falling, never judged by the lake, only briefly mirrored, then gone. The water returns to clarity with your patience. Recall a time when urgency chose for you. Feel how that old energy tightens the chest. Contrast it now, the sensation of your body in calm, the way your mind slows, your heart loosens its search for proof. Money comes to presence. If the surface is hectic, the reflection fragments, distorts, disappears. But as your body and mind pour gentleness back into the moment, the whole world reflects back that calm. Abundance is magnetized to peace, never panic. Expansion is yours always, in the places you stop forcing, and let the water remember its natural rest. Even if a sudden wind disturbs, the lake always returns to stillness. Just as you always return again and again to composure, that patience breeds certainty. Certainty breeds trust. Trust calls forward all things meant for you. Each breath is a ripple settling, an invitation for the world to match your quiet. Let internal steadiness be your guide. Let every choice feel like the sky choosing its own reflection gently, knowing the water will show all and distort nothing when met with peace. This always is the way. Not to control the sky, or race the wind, or force the water into stillness, but to become so peaceful that the world reveals itself. Abundance clear, opportunity open, safety at home within. Rest here. Let the lake receive your softness, and notice as money learns to echo that softness back. Every moment of presence is an act of creation. Every pause, a silent invitation for wealth to arrive gently, just as you are mirrored and whole. Let each breath lead you deeper, down beyond the weight of old striving, the hush of your room folding around you, as if your soul has wandered long, and finally wants only to rest. Notice where you're meeting your bed, a quiet root, pulsing warmth each rib and ankle and shoulder falling into soft trust. If there's tension, let it rise and lower as gently as a tide. No urgency, just a return. Imagine you're walking barefoot across earth warmed by a kind sun, the ground steady, ancient, holding you the way wealth always hoped to hold you. Every blade of grass bending softly underfoot, never rushing you, asking nothing of you but to exist. The air full of possibilities, none of them urgent, each one patient, circling, waiting for you to call it in when you are ready. Hear the hush in the wind, a lullaby for your nervous system, nothing to prove, nothing to chase. The world so still, even your thoughts begin to drowse. Let yourself sit in that golden field, legs tucked under. Feel the soil's weightless embrace, how it supports without asking, offers safety without taking. The sun lingering on your face, a gentle echo of the inner light you've always owned. How rare it is to know, even now, you can choose stillness. You don't have to run. Sense your breath, slow and delicious, the way a sigh leaves your lips in relief after a long day. Remember you have survived rushes before, those quick panics, those scarcity-breathed yeses. Tonight it is different. You are choosing ease, on every inhale, on every settling exhale. Spend time here noticing the way worry tries to stand up in the grass, then bows and dissolves as you close your eyes. Night falls slowly, the field sparkling with dew, symbols of little possibilities reflecting back your calm, sacred and unrushed. If stray thoughts come, imagine each one as a soft feather drifting down. They settle on your lap, weightless and harmless. You do not follow them, you let them rest. Now, as dusk deepens, see golden coins scattered beside you, not as demands, but as invitations from the universe, loving and unhurried. Each coin mirrors your steady, peaceful breathing. Each one reflects not need, but presence. Not desperation, but trust. Stay with the feeling that you can let abundance arrive when it wishes, the way breeze finds open windows. You are not behind, you are not too late. You do not need to hurry. Every cell in your body beginning to believe. Let these truths echo softly, as if spoken by remembering. Receiving is safe now. Receiving is safe now. My worth is already proven. My worth is already proven. I am worthy of gentle arrivals. I am worthy of gentle arrivals. There is nothing I must chase. There is nothing I must chase. Abundance meets me in stillness. Abundance meets me in stillness. I am free to trust the timing. I am free to trust the timing. I release the urge to rush. I release the urge to rush. Peace is my new currency. Peace is my new currency. The universe honors my steady heart. The universe honors my steady heart. Let these words root into your resting places, your muscles, your marrow, the quiet spaces below thought. Let them repeat, reshaping the map inside you. Allow this mantra to become true simply by lingering. I am safe, I am whole, I am abundant, I am safe, I am whole.